The biggest difference between people who stay broke and those who build real wealth isn't intelligence or luck. It comes down to understanding the psychology of money. I went from being over 100 pounds overweight, completely broke, and arrested 6 different times to building companies worth hundreds of millions of dollars. It wasn't because I'm somehow extraordinary. I'm not different from you. The reason my life changed is because I stopped letting a broke mindset control the decisions I made every day. If you truly want to create wealth, you have to let go of the limiting beliefs that keep most people financially stuck. And today, we're starting with the first one. The first limiting belief is what I call your money script. Every financial choice you make, what career you pursue, how much you charge for your work, whether you feel guilty spending money, or even how comfortable you are earning more, is influenced by a subconscious script running in the background of your mind. The interesting part is that you probably didn't even create that script yourself. This isn't just an opinion either. Financial psychologists have identified 4 common money scripts that strongly influence the way people handle money. Most of these beliefs are formed during childhood, long before we're even old enough to truly understand what money is. As I explain each one, think about which script sounds most like you. At the end, I'll share the one that shaped me growing up. The first type is the money avoider. Money avoiders believe that money is somehow bad or that they don't deserve to have it. Because of that, they often end up sabotaging their own financial success. Many choose careers that help others but pay very little, and they frequently feel guilty for wanting to earn more. If you grew up hearing phrases like rich people are greedy or money is the root of all evil, there's a good chance those beliefs became part of your own money script. The second type is the money worshiper. These people believe that money is the answer to all of their problems and that happiness is always one paycheck away. They constantly chase more income, but no matter how much they earn, it never feels like enough. First, they believe they'll be happy at $1 million, then it's $10 million, then $100 million. The goalpost keeps moving because they expect money to provide something it never truly can. Next is the money status script. People with this mindset connect their self-worth to their net worth. They spend money trying to impress others, often hide financial struggles, and constantly compare themselves with people who have more. It's the classic keeping up with the Joneses mentality, always feeling like your car, house, or lifestyle has to be better than everyone else's. Research shows this mindset is closely connected to lower happiness and reduced well-being because you're constantly measuring yourself against other people instead of focusing on your own progress. The final script is the money vigilant mindset. These are people who save aggressively, live below their means, and are usually very responsible with money. The problem is that they rarely feel financially secure no matter how much they actually have. They tend to worry constantly about the future and often keep their finances private because they're always afraid something could go wrong. As you think about these 4 categories, remember that you might relate to more than one, but ask yourself which one has influenced you the most. For me, it was definitely the money vigilant mindset. That may surprise some people because they see me wearing jewelry, makeup, or nice clothes. But the truth is, compared to what I have, I spend very little. Even when my net worth reached around the $100 million, I still didn't want to spend more than a couple $1,000,000 on a home. In fact, I rented for several years instead of buying because I never truly felt financially secure. Alex knows this is something I still struggle with today. Whenever my businesses have a few slower months or profits dip, even though it doesn't affect my personal finances, I immediately switch into saving mode. I stop buying things, question every expense, and tell my team we need to cut unnecessary costs. Eventually, I realized this wasn't based on reality. It was an old money script from my past controlling my current behavior. So I started doing something that felt completely unnatural. Whenever I felt that strong urge to stop spending out of fear, I would intentionally spend on something worthwhile. It wasn't about wasting money. It was about teaching my brain that I was safe. I wanted my actions to prove that my fear wasn't supported by the facts. Here's something I want you to do. Think back to the messages you heard about money growing up. Maybe your parents said things like, "Money doesn't grow on trees. Be grateful for what you have. Rich people are selfish." Those weren't universal truths. They were simply someone else's beliefs that eventually became your own. Over time, those beliefs start influencing every financial decision you make, from your career choices to what you believe you're worth, how much you spend, and even whether earning more money feels exciting or uncomfortable. To start changing that, write down your earliest memory involving money. What did your parents say about it? How did they behave around money? That memory will often reveal your money script. Once you recognize it, you can replace it with something healthier. For example, instead of believing money is something negative, you might choose a new belief like, money is a tool that gives me freedom and allows me to create a bigger impact. As you begin repeating and believing that new story, your behavior slowly begins to change. When your internal beliefs shift, your external financial results usually start changing as well because your decisions finally become aligned with the future you're trying to build. The second limiting belief that keeps so many people stuck is what I call the wealth ceiling. Here's the reality. You'll often sabotage a $200,000 opportunity if deep down you still see yourself as someone who only deserves a $50,000 opportunity. Why does that happen? Because your income is limited by the way you see yourself. Just like the relationships you accept, the career you settle for, or the lifestyle you live, your self-image sets the standard. Research shows that your self-concept works like a thermostat. If you believe you're someone who earns $100,000 a year, your mind naturally tries to keep you around that level. If you suddenly make $150,000, you might unconsciously spend the extra $50,000. If your income drops below your comfort zone, you'll work hard to get back there. But the bigger issue is that you'll rarely pursue opportunities far beyond what your identity believes is possible. For years, my identity was simply, I'm someone who hustles just to survive. I remember getting stuck earning around $85,000 a year in my first real job. Even though I knew I was capable of making more, I had built an identity around that number. Whenever I started earning more, I found ways to bring myself back down. Sometimes I'd throw money into competitions. Other times I'd become overwhelmed with anxiety just before reaching the next level. I'd think, what if I mess this up? What if I actually can't keep making this much? At the time, I didn't realize I was simply regulating my own internal thermostat. If your identity